entitled "Liberal Snowflakes Shut Down White Professor, Fed Up Class Has Brilliant Response." During a midterm exam, a group of entitled liberal protesters attempted to shut down a Berkeley professor by claiming that his teaching embodies white supremacy, mistakenly expecting the students in the room to join the ridiculous protest. However, as soon as the class realized that their test was being interrupted by whiny snowflakes, they gave a brilliant response that the entitled liberals never expected. Thanks to liberal indoctrination in the education system, colleges and universities are hotbeds for intolerant leftists to silence anyone they believe holds an opposing view. After years of socialist professors coaching young minds with dangerous propaganda, these social justice warriors are now openly perpetuating racism, violence, and fascism on campuses while their conservative peers are systematically punished for offending their hair-trigger sensibilities. In what's quickly becoming a typical date at the University of California, Berkeley, a handful of students claiming to be oppressed by white supremacy attempted to shut down a group of students taking their midterm exam. The Hispanic millennials disrespectfully burst into the classroom and began shouting down Professor Harley Shaken in a disgusting effort to stop students from being allowed to take their tests. Expecting the students to join in their ridiculously entitled ultimatum for a take-home essay with significant time to prepare for students of color, the liberal snowflakes soon realized that not only were they shutting down a professor who tirelessly advocates for workers' rights in Central America but also that the students they had interrupted were not on their side. The class erupted into laughter at the liberal protesters' absurd demands and pathetic entitlement, with several students cracking jokes at the angry demonstrators. When the class refused to join in their ultimatum and instead resumed their exams, the frustrated Hispanic students directed their tantrum toward their peers. "I don't know why you're still, sitting down, y'all. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Y'all can take your F-King test, but people are dying out there," said a protester who remained behind before accusing her fellow students of supporting white supremacy. Not one test taker joined in their ridiculous tirade while several actually voiced their desire to simply finish their midterm, for which they and the taxpayers are paying. In fact, several students made light of this situation much to the protesters' frustration. One student, who was annoyed at the protest, jokingly asked if this is a filibuster. "Are you trying to silence us right now? Is that what you're trying to do?" said one protester without any self-awareness. The student responded by stating he was just trying to take my test. "This is our mental health. This is our physical health. This is claimed another protester before turning to her comrade for help. Although Professor Shaken repeatedly tried to quell the protesters' anger, they refused to budge, accusing the educator of white supremacy and trying to infringe upon their First Amendment rights. However, the demonstrators looked ignorant when they shamed Shaken for having no understanding of immigrant struggles, only to discover soon after that he has fought for years in Mexico for civil rights and even earned the Outstanding Teaching Award at the University of California, San Diego in 1991 for his efforts. The Snowflake students claim their well-beings are being put on the line because of the emotional, mental, and physical stress that this university is compounding with what is already going on in their everyday lives. "Have you ever checked unlisted or undocumented immigrant? I don't think so," one protester shouted at the professor. Finally, Professor Shaken managed to herd the privileged students out of the class by promising them to continue the endless discussion outside so the test takers can finish their exams. Of course, the liberals didn't want answers or a debate as they claimed, which is why they instead went to the Department of Ethnic Studies to complain. As hilarious as it is to watch liberals devour one another as they further divide into smaller and more exclusive special interest groups, this is the sad reality of the privileged left in America. They whine about intolerance while expressing their hateful intolerance of anyone holding a differing opinion. They denounce white privilege while enjoying minority privileges that the white majority is denied. They demand to be heard while silencing anyone who might disagree. Their hypocrisy truly knows no bounds. Despite the majority of students undoubtedly harboring left-leaning viewpoints, Even they are getting fed up with the incessant whining and never-ending demands from their own political demographic. The vocal minority continues to shut down progress and demand special treatment that causes them to become further dependent upon the white majority they claim to resist. Sadly, they don't even realize that the racist Democratic Party, that once physically enslaved them, now owns their votes and minds. Please share the story and tell us what you think by clicking one of the buttons below. We want to hear your voice.